What's up, Raider Nation? Back at you again with another video. And yeah, we're gonna pretend like we didn't just have an hour conversation before we started the Zoom, but just gonna jump right into it here. I mean, we are that much closer to having our next GM and our next head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. And his name is Antonio Pierce and his name is Champ Kelly. That's kind of what we're shooting for, and that's kind of what I mean, everyone kind of expects at this point.
Yeah. After all the talk about Jim Harbaugh, Ed Dodds, whoever else, I think it's pretty clear that we're zeroing in on those two guys. And I've heard a lot of fans complain that, okay, why is it taking this long? Just hire AP. But here's what I'll applaud Mark Davis is he's hiring the GM first, which we've been pounding the table for that. Don't just hire the head coach and give him all the power. Hire Champ Kelly, go through the Rooney Rule, interview all the diversity candidates, do whatever you got to do, and bring this guy in. I think he's gotten some interest. Even if we weren't going to hire Champ Kelly, he would be a GM elsewhere. So he's a hot commodity in the market. Go out, get Champ Kelly, and let him bring AP back, and let's run it back. Let's get this thing going again.
Man, yeah. And the Rooney Rule, that's one thing we're gonna mention. Like the Rooney Rule, the last guy was this Hispanic coordinator from the Cowboys. I don't even know his name, just Raiders Scout and Raiders Daily, and everyone was posting about it today. But that was the last kind of check off the Rooney Rule. Shout out Miggy, shout out Miguel. He's probably right behind you right now, but
Yep.
so that's good. We checked off that last Rooney Rule check, and tomorrow could be the day. Um, I think we saw that MLK interview with Champ Kelly and Antonio Pierce rocking the Raider gear. Makes it seem like they know something that we don't. That it could easily be that they've already gotten the word that they're going to be the next GM and the next coach of the Oakland Raiders, Las Vegas Raiders. And honestly, that's what we wanted to hear. That's what we've been talking about. Like, that's what we wanted to hear. We wanted to hear that. Like, this whole time we've been going through it over and over and over in all these videos. But shit, here's the day. Hopefully, tomorrow's the day.
Yeah. And another thing we want to mention is Cliff Kingsbury has been kind of floated around. I think Colin Cowherd mentioned that we would be interested in hiring him. There's mutual interest there. And I think my only qualms about hiring AP in the first place was he's not an offensive genius. He's not a defensive genius, right? But if we were able to get Cliff Kingsbury, we'd have a bona fide great offensive coordinator. And obviously, we have Patrick Graham at defensive coordinators. We have two elite minds who have done it in the past. Cliff Kingsbury, we were looking at it before. They were 7-0 and 10-2 as head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. And this guy has molded Mahomes, and Caleb didn't have the best year, but obviously him and Caleb are tight. So he's a quarterback whisperer, is what Cliff Kingsbury has been described as in league circles. So that would be absolutely amazing if we were able to get Cliff Kingsbury as offensive coordinator. That solves a lot of the offensive issues that you've had last year. I think if we had Cliff Kingsbury as our OC this past year, we top 15 offense with our personnel easily.
I don't know about that. And I only say that because of Statue of Liberty. Statue of Liberty, Mr. Aiden O'Connell, number 4. Shout out AOC. I mean, I don't think you would be a top 15 offense with Aiden O'Connell. I don't even think you're a top 15 offense with Jimmy Garoppolo with Cliff Kingsbury. I think if Cliff Kingsbury was the OC, there would be someone complete. Jimmy G would never be a Raider. It was McDaniels calling all the friggin' fucking shots. And McDaniels actually really set us back like a few years, took a playoff team and turned it into garbage. And I think from week 3, we were just talking about that Arizona loss when Renfro fumbled. After that point, that was all downhill from there. When we went 0-3, like we knew like the new regime and everything was just like gonna just suck. Like just be a flop. And Cliff Kingsbury started 7-1 in 2020 or 7-0 in 2021, and then went 10-2 and then finished 11-6. So didn't finish great, but took Arizona with Kyler Murray to 10-2, which is a pretty crazy start.
Yeah.
And obviously they were favored in a bunch of playoff game in the first playoff game. I think they lost to they might have lost.
Rams.
Yeah, the
Rams beat
Rams. I
him.
was just gonna say. I think they lost to the Rams that game. Um but it was actually Seattle. Oh no, maybe it
I
was
think
Monday.
that yeah, it was Monday night, I remember, and they got curb stop against the Rams. I mean, Stafford, that was the year Stafford, I think they won the Super
Yeah,
Bowl
it
with
was the Rams. It was the Rams. You're right.
yeah,
It was at LA. It was 34-11, the final score at SoFi.
yeah,
Um, that was the year Rams won the Super Bowl, though. Rams
yeah.
won all that year. But air raid offense brings another dimension to the game. And I was gonna say Renfro is gonna walk. Like we've seen Renfro's last game as a Raider. But the good thing is now with this, if the Cliff Kingsbury rumors, Colin Coward claims are true, they're gonna get another wide receiver. I think they're gonna get someone fast. And Trey Tucker could develop into that threat, and we could see a lot more number 11 running around next season. But I think they're gonna get one more guy, um, kind of like a Zay Jones. Like obviously Zay Jones was great for us that year, and we should have never let him walk. But obviously Josh McDaniels was a fucking idiot, and he let everyone good walk. So you get another receiver, you get a wide receiver three, air raid offense, spread. That's usually what it is. Spread with back and running back in the backfield. Jacobs is going to resign. He'll take a lesser deal to resign because of AP, because AP is there. And the Raiders' overall offense is going to be looking good next year if this Cliff Kingsbury rumor is true. I don't know. I just got hyped when I saw it. You saw my Instagram.
The one thing I will say to that is if you look at two teams in the playoffs, the Houston Texans and Green Bay Packers, their personnel is all young on offense, young running backs, young receivers, young tight ends. So they're building their offense through the draft instead of free agency, right? And I think it shows like when you have guys like Renfro, Adams, last year we had Waller, like those guys, obviously they're great players, but paying them at a premium price point, $30 million a year, $15 million a year, it's not sustainable because you can't build the other areas of your roster, right? You can't develop your old line, you can't develop the trenches. So I think look at the Packers. They Romeo Dobbs. I can't even name their receivers. They just have all these studs breaking tackle. Even the Bucks did that. They have obviously Mike Evans, but they're not paying him 30 million. They're paying him 10, 15 million for a top 10 receiver. And then they have these young receivers who are popping off, right?
Hey, and
And
shout out Mike Evans, man. Mike Evans is a Hall of
yeah.
Famer. I mean, 10 straight years of 1,000 yards plus. Even Devontae hasn't done that. Devontae had 997 for like 2 out of the last like eight or 9 years. Mike Evans, like that is crazy. 10 straight years of 1,000 plus. And look at his quarterbacks. Like the quarterbacks have been absolutely shit. First, it was Jameis Winston. Then it was Brady. Okay, Brady. But then this year, just a washed Baker Mayfield who turned out to be Baker Mayfield is a stud. And I think people are counting them out against Detroit because of the last time they played, it was like 30-12 in Tampa. Detroit beat the shit out of them. But Tampa's gonna give them a run, I think, because of how strong the defense is playing. Todd Bowles is a defensive coach, so he got those defensive guys worked up, and the offense is just cooking. Baker had over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns again. He threw like a 45-yard touchdown, a 33-yard touchdown. Like he threw a couple bombs. Like in the last one to Chris Godwin was super nice too. I mean, I'd say that's my dark horse candidate for the Super Bowl this year.
That'd be pretty bold just because I love Baker. I mean, ever since they beat us, I had a lot of respect for him. Obviously, it sucked to lose that game, but he looked better than Carr with 2 days preparation. So, I mean, he's got the talent. I mean, I don't know if they can beat the Packers or the Niners, especially the Niners. I think they have a chance against Detroit. I think Detroit's good, but I think they're overrated a touch, right? They barely beat the Rams at home. Lucky no pass interference on Puka Nakua. We'll also shout out him. He's an absolute dog, Puka Nakua. So, but
Chad
that's my
Ryland. Chad Ryland was drafted before Puka Nakua.
exact. So that's what I'm saying. Like Puka Nakua, fifth round pick, and he's playing as well as Devontae. I watched him play. Devontae has not had a game like that this entire season against the way he played against Detroit. So it's like I feel like we need to build through the draft, and that's where hiring your GM first is so important, as we've mentioned. You got to have some structural stability, right? Ziegler and McDaniels come in, they don't know what the hell they're doing. They just trade for high price names, Chandler Jones and Devontae, obviously Devontae's a great character guy. What the hell is a Chandler Jones signing? Those guys didn't have a clue what they're doing. They're just throwing money at big names. So it doesn't, the names don't have to be big. Just go and hire the right guys and draft and build from the ground up.
I think our guys know deep down that the job's already given away.
Yeah.
think I think they just had to fulfill the Rooney rule. I think I honestly, you heard it here first that today or tomorrow, like when you see this video, will be tomorrow. So that they're gonna name the coach. I think tomorrow they're gonna name AP and they're gonna name Champ Kelly. And I don't see even them giving Harbaugh an interview because of the fact that Max Crosby already threatened to leave if you give Harbaugh if AP doesn't go. He's like, okay, then all options are on the table. So he's essentially threatening that if we don't get if AP doesn't stay as a head coach, then it could be a disaster. Like could say, okay, get the fuck out. Like he could be like, I'm gonna leave. And then Devontae has also voiced and said, oh, like that's our guy, like AP's our guy. Even today, Robert Splain posted, he goes soon. He just wrote soon with a picture of AP. So I mean, let's just go and right now say that these guys are, it's gonna be Champ Kelly and Antonio Pierce. But
I,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I 100% agree with that. I think people are reporting that. Like I saw Raiders, whatever his name is now, Raiders Scout or whatever. He
Yeah,
posted it. He didn't post any source. He was just like Raiders will hire Antonio Pierce. Like you got to give a source there. But anyway, but yeah, I think everyone it's kind of coming to an end now. The whole search. I think everyone's kind of knows it's over now. Like we're hiring AP and Champ.
yeah. And Raider Nation, we appreciate the likes, comments, subscribes. We hit 105 subscribers now. And yeah, just keep it coming. Hopefully tomorrow will be a big day. And when you guys see this video, hopefully AP and Champ Kelly are gonna be our regime. We'll see you guys.
Appreciate y'all.